So Jamie has proposed some really interesting balance concepts on the new weathers coming to Loomian Legacy. On paper, can range from being okay to being very powerful, as these can affect many aspects of the metagame such as damage outputs of certain Loomians, speed tiers of different Loomians rising, and moves/abilities being cancelled or enhanced. To clarify a few things before starting, each weather will contain a primary and secondary effect. The primary effects mainly focus on the direct damage and speed buffs and nerfs, while having the secondary effects which displays a wide range of buffs and nerfs concerning statuses, certain moves, and HP. So with that out of the way, let's begin talking about the PvP weather concepts that Jamie has proposed. The first proposed weather mechanic is the heavy rainfall weather. This weather has the main effect of increasing water type base move damage by 25%, while decreasing fire type base move damage by 25%, and a secondary effect of healing all plant types by 1/16 of their max HP at the end of each turn. Overall, these additions look very good for more defensive teams and might bring back harder hitting water types back in the meta. Because of the water type buffs, Loomians like Garlash, Akalos, and Skellig can now have more opportunities to hit much harder, and existing Loomians like Cephalops and a possible Sea Song Sukame much more dangerous. However, this weather might be one of the least used weathers, at least in this current metagame, since the most used water types are all defensive. This goes against the main effect of the weather ability. While this weather can easily help offensive water types to become more common, these offensive water types, in my opinion, has less desirable attributes when it comes to offense compared to the other weather being added very soon, the heatwaves weather. The main effects of this weather is to increase fire type moves damage by 25% and decrease water type moves damage by 25%, and the secondary effect of having ice type Loomians losing 1/16 of their max HP at the end of each turn. Unlike water types, this metagame has some really good offensive and defensive water types to abuse this weather like Ikazune, Serenite, Pyroland, and possible Loomians to rise because of heat waves like Eruptodon. Each of these Loomians have more desirable attributes like their coverage, speed, tiers, bulk, defensive typing, and overall damage output. Not to mention, this weather, unlike heavy rainfall, decreases ice type's HP, fitting with the main effect of the weather to do more damage. While heavy rainfall's useful secondary effect to heal plant types is quite nice, this OU metagame has no notable plant types to speak of other than Tatab and Nevermare, which are respectively a cleaner/wall breaker or a sweeper. However, our heavy rainfall effects will probably be more utilized in UU, as Loomians like Chartiki, Maumurk, Baneki, and Colossotrops will appreciate this quite a bit. Okay, now back on track. Heatwaves changes seem really good in the OU metagame, as Ikazune and Pyroland already dominate the metagame and will continue to dominate with this buff. Well, maybe not Pyroland, but since it might lose Rejuvenate. The next and probably one of the least important weather out of all of them is the Strong Gusts. The Strong Gusts' main effect gives air types a 10% bonus in speed, and a secondary effect of preventing all trapping mechanics such as Pestilence and Steel Trap. The main effect is quite underrated, as this gives Loomians like Wintrix, Gargolem attack, and more speed to outspeed other offensive threats that can revenge kill them. However, the same can't be said for the secondary effects, as the meta of trapping mechanics isn't really present right now. And finally, the projected consensus best weather in the game is without a doubt Fog. Fog's main effects is to nullify every Loomian's ability except for Spirit types, and its secondary effect allows Spirit types Loomian's 2-turn moves to be turned into 1-turn moves, skipping the invulnerable stage just to attack. Let's ignore the secondary effect and focus on the main effect. Fog's main effect allows for Loomians like Vesperatu and Ursul to become a lot more stronger, since Eclipse loses its total Eclipse to absorb its moves, and resilience to users like Obsidian and Tundrelin are a lot more scared of how much damage Vesperatu can do. This also nullifies great abilities from multiple great Loomians such as Gargolem Attack, Luminami, Tatab, Tyrex, Dorogo, Dragodane, Phagenot, and much more Loomians. This hurts their viability, and for some like Dorogo and Dragodin, their viability can be shut down in a battle. So overall, these concepts are in theory really good and can change up the meta quite a bit. I am mainly excited to abuse the thunderstorm one, mainly because I'm really great with electric types, but keeping my personal biases aside, this will buff offense heavily, or not heavily, but this will buff offense a lot more, as Loomians like Ikazune and Deldrix are already good on offensive teams. And now with that, this will make offensive teams a lot more stronger, as clicking pivot moves, which are already really safe right now to click, and this will be a lot more easier to click them, especially when they have more damage. This is also pretty good, compounding with the fact that you have now Fog, which is obviously going to be the best weather out of all, which will help spirit types like Harvest Sect, well, not really Harvest Sect, but Vesperatu and Ursul to make an even bigger splash in this metagame, because now Obsidian and Tundrelin, they're not going to be wanting to tank a lot of Vesperatu and Ursul hits, especially when they can both set up and deal massive amounts of damage. And Obsidian being the general consensus better than Tundrelin, it doesn't have consistent recovery if you're not running Mysterious Dust on it, making it so it will have very limited time to take hits from Vesperatu and Ursul. Heatwaves is also very good, as Ikazune will now abuse this. It seems like Ikazune is the biggest W out of everyone else here, and this will also make more offensively variant Pyroland and Seer Knight sets a lot more viable. And this will also make Eruptodon a lot more better, as because already it's getting a lot more better with the Baffle stuff, and now it's getting these, specifically the Heat Waves. This will make Pyroland a lot more better, and not Pyroland, but Eruptodon a lot more better, as Pyro will now be hitting a lot more harder, and especially with Baffle helping it, it's just going to be really good. So overall, I think these weathers are pretty good. I did get a not a notification, but like Jamie sent out a message to give criticism, and that's what I'm gonna do. I feel like the gust, or what, it's something called gusts. Yeah, strong gusts should be buffed, because as of right now, it only really helps air types. And a change I want to propose is to make either make bug or brawler types a lot more, like just decrease their speed or attack. Personally, attack would be better, or defense. Now, you guys might be concerned here, but usually bugs are not really resistant to air and stuff like that. Plus, air in this game is mostly personified through birds or stuff that can fly. So this will obviously tie in with that factor, and not to mention that bugs in real life are pretty small, and in this game it seems like it's the case as well, since most of them have pretty low base stat totals, which will tie in very well and overall make the bugs a lot more weaker. This will also bring nerfs to Deldrix and Harvesect, which Harvesect is kind of falling off, but this will give an important nerf to Deldrix, since Deldrix is kind of dummy right now, which overall makes bug types a little bit more easier to deal with, specifically Deldrix, and this kind of ties in logically with the strong gusts. And as for brawler types, getting a nerf for this, whether that would be attack or defense or just speed in general, because it seems like they want to go and take a speed route with the strong gusts. Just nerf the brawler types, because you need as much clean atmosphere to focus and make your punches a lot more faster. and it seems like we're not going to get a lot of range water types anytime soon, so it seems like to go in this way of the logic. And because of air compression and air pressure slowing down the movements and less oxygen to perform bodily functions, which means less muscle will be used and overall muscles would get weaker, this would seem like a very good logical change for the strong gusts. And that's about it for buffs I want to give these weathers. I do have some concepts I want to bring up for heavy rainfall. Heavy rainfall is a bit interesting here because it kind of wants to go into a defensive or offensive route, and I feel like it should just go all defensive here. Hear me out? Hear me out. If they want to go full offense route, then they might as well just change the secondary effect just to help out water types a bit more. Maybe you can make them more faster, which is what Pokemon did. So you can, of course, do that. And if you want to make it more defensive, maybe you can help out the plant types, because the plant types right now aren't really in the best position, because only the really good defensive plant types in the OU metagame, there's not a lot. It's only 2 plant types, and those are offensive ones. So maybe making more changes to specifically help defensive plant types, which will be very nice. I like the health idea for plant types, getting more passive health throughout. And maybe this is just an idea. Maybe give them some sort of defense buff or like more resistance to fire, which they're already doing, but make it specifically for plant types. Just get rid of the fire resistance, and maybe because there's so much condensation from the water, they are now be able to resist fire type moves, which might not seem like the most balanced thing, but it is, in my opinion, pretty balanced because fire types aren't really as strong. Of course, we have Ikazune and stuff like that, but you know what I'm saying. So overall, these are some pretty good changes. I'm just ranting on now and just collecting eggs while I not talk to you guys because I'm just recording, but doing these. If you want to know some more stuff, I might do a stream going over some more concepts for the weathers. But yeah, this is Cotton Stoop signing off to remind you guys that Zulang is still a dumpster fire. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and hopefully you're looking forward to these weather changes because I know I am.